Good evening. You're watching the 7 o'clock English news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Firstly, headlines. The Sultanate affirms that executing reforms on United Nations system is necessary to be in line with the future of upcoming generations. The Sultanate and the Republic of Latvia signed a memorandum of understanding to coordinate their stances on regional and international issues. The Sultanate's general deficit declines to 2.6 billion Omani Riyals, and the Central Bank of Oman affirms increase in activities of oil and non-oil sectors. And the Research Council approves financing of 58 students' research projects in various fields. Those are the headlines, and now the news in detail. The Sultanate supports the necessity of executing a number of reforms in the United Nations as part of the United States' belief of reforming the situation, the world's situation. In a statement to radio and television of the Sultan of Oman, His Excellency Yusuf bin Ali bin Abdullah, Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, said the Sultan supports the initiative of the Secretary General of the United Nations in this regard to be in line with the future of upcoming generations. His Excellency the Minister pointed out the situation in the Arab countries and the obstacles facing them were at the center of discussions during the Arab ministers' meeting in the UN. The government and the Sultanate and the Latvia signed in New York a memorandum of understanding MOU between the ministers of foreign affairs of both countries in the field of bilateral consultations. The MOU includes holding regular meetings and consultations to review the progress of the bilateral relations between the two countries and to exchange views and coordinate their stances on regional and international issues of mutual concern. Those meetings shall be held alternatively in Muscat and Riga, and the two parties shall consult through their permanent missions to the United Nations in New York. The two parties shall be headed by the ministers, their deputies, the heads of chambers, or any other level agreed upon the parties, and may include experts from both countries. The MOU was signed from the Sultan's side by His Excellency Yusuf bin Ali bin Abdullah, Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, and from Latvia's side by His Excellency Edgar Rink Fitch, Minister of Foreign Affairs. Reviewing bilateral relations between the Sultanate and the United States of America and means of boosting them, as well as regional and international matters, were the core of talks held between His Excellency Yusuf bin Ali bin Abdullah, Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, and David Satterfield, Assistant Secretary of State for Near East Affairs, at the premises of his residence in New York. The Sultan's deficit declined to 2.6 billion Omani Riyals until the end of July this year, compared to 3.4 billion Omani Riyals during the same period of last year. This was affirmed by the Central Bank of Oman, CBO. The CBO report mentioned that the decline in the financial deficit is attributed to the increase in the government's oil and non-oil revenues, along with reducing the public expenditure. The latest statistics issued by the CBO mentioned that the Sultan's gross domestic product, GDP, increased by 12.9% during the first quarter of this year. The statistics as well mentioned that the annual inflation rate increased by 1.8%, which reflected on energy prices, education, and transport. Regarding the performance of the banking sector, the CBO added that this sector continues to achieve a modern growth in deposits and credits in spite of the economic recession. The Research Council approved financing 58 students' research projects within the 2017 program, distributed to 19 universities and colleges around the Sultanate. The project financed by the Council includes researchers in the fields of industry, telecommunications, environment resources, culture and social sciences, health and social services, as well as education and human resources. The Council clarified that the number of such researchers financed by the program during the last 5 years reached 309. All this came within the keenness of the Council to support the university students as well as enhance their knowledge and capabilities in this field. The Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth announced that the tender for improving and expanding Dabba Port is ready and will be floated by the end of the year after it was approved by the Supreme Council for Planning. The improvements of Dabba Port comes within the series of fishing sector projects that are being implemented by the ministry. The ministry stated that the improving port of the port will be through government investments, which the expansion process will be through private sector investments. The private sector investments also cover for a ship repair yard, fish canning factory, ice manufacturing factory, together with touristic facilities. The tender will also include the maintenance of the service facilities of the port and providing wave breakers. The port will contribute in supporting the fishing sector activities and will contribute in supporting the national economy through improving the coastal areas socially and economically, in addition to providing job opportunities. Still to come, a news bulletin. The Sultan celebrates the advent of the new Hijri year 1439. Welcome back to the news from the Sultan of Oman television. Singaporean Prime Minister Hsien Loong began a two-day visit to Beijing today. He was welcomed by Chinese Premier Li Keqiang with an official ceremony of the Great Hall of the People. During bilateral talks, the leaders discussed strengthening cooperation. Singapore will be rotating chair of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations ASEAN next year. Bilateral ties between China and Singapore hit a low last year after Hong Kong Customs seized 9 Singaporean military vehicles en route from exercises in Taiwan. The vehicles were returned 2 months later, but China voiced its displeasure at Singapore's long-standing policy of conducting military exercises in Taiwan, which Beijing considers one of its provinces. South Korea and the United States conducted joint exercises today as tensions on the Korean Peninsula remain high. According to U.S. Forces Korea, the 2nd Armored Brigade Combat Team of the 1st Cavalry Division, along with the South Korean Army, took part in the Combined Arms Collective Training Exercises Warrior Strike 8. Commander Rob Kimmel said the drills were intended to improve interoperability, their ability to plan together and come together in an emergency situation. They take place against a backdrop of continued tension over North Korea's missile program and tests. Russian President Vladimir Putin attended the week-long war games with Belarus that have demonstrated the Russians' military resurgent might and made neighboring countries nervous. Putin observed the Zapad West 2017 drills, tank attacks, airborne assaults and air raids that got underway at the Lusky range in western Russia, just over 100 kilometers east of Estonia's border. As part of the maneuvers, the Russian military also test-fired its state-of-the-art cruise missile at a mock target in the Central Asian nation of Kazakhstan. showcasing the weapon's extended range and precision strike capability. Some nervous NATO members, including the Baltic states and Poland, have criticized an alleged lack of transparency about the war games and questioned Moscow's intentions. Russia and Belarus had 5,500 Russian and 7,200 Belarusian troops are participating. A towering monument of Mikhail Kalashnikov, a designer of the prolific assault rifle that bears his name, was unveiled in Moscow today. Kalashnikov died in 2013 at the age of 94 in the city of Izvest, where he lived. He has received accolades as the creator of the AK-47 assault rifle, the world's most popular firearm. An estimated 100 million guns are spread worldwide. Russian Minister of Culture said at the monument's opening that the Kalashnikov rifle has become Russia's cultural brand. The monument in downtown Moscow shows Kalashnikov cradling his rifle. Kalashnikov, born into a peasant family in Siberia, began brooding about a new rifle design after being wounded in a 1941 battle against Nazi forces and finalized it in 1947. His Excellency Said Badr bin Saud bin Harib al-Busaidi, Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, visited the Italian company of Leonardo Finmeccanica, which is the Minister of Defense coordinates with concerning of helicopters used by the Royal Air Force of Oman. During his visit, he met a number of officials of the company where he was briefed about its works and discussed a number of matters of mutual concern, mainly the technical and administrative services between RAFO and the company. The Central Bank of Oman, CBO, announced results of government development bonds auction issue number 54, in which the total subscription application value reached more than 260 million Omani Rials. Meanwhile, CBO in a statement said that the issue was fixed at 150 million Omani Rials with a maturity period of 10 years and will carry a coupon rate of 5.75%. The Minister of Health, represented by the Emergency and Crisis Management Center, launched the mobile unit for the center. This unit will contribute to emergency preparedness and response and will help coordinate efforts and resources as well as ensure optimal use during emergency situations with all emergency rooms in different governorates of the Sultanate. The Sultan, represented by the Ministry of Endowments and Religious Affairs, had a ceremony in the Sharia Science College in Al Khawair on the occasion of the Holy Prophet's Hijri anniversary, peace be upon him, and the advent of the new Hijri year 1439 AH. The celebration of the Islamic nation of this occasion came to stress on the relation of the Muslims with such historic events and the lessons and good values that came to be learned and passed down to the next generation so as to build an unified Muslim community. The ceremony witnessed a number of activities including visual presentations and poetic sessions. The Royal Oman Police celebrated the opening of the command of the governorate in the governorate of Musandam and Khasab police station under the auspices of His Excellency General Sultan bin Mohammed al-Nu'mani, Minister of Royal Office, with the presence of His Excellency Lieutenant General Hassan bin Mohsen al-Shariqi, Inspector General of Police and Customs. Along with the opening ceremonies, a new batch of police recruits was also graduated. It's worth mentioning that the opening of such police buildings came within the modern security projects as well as management of services provided by the Royal Oman Police. The new building are also equipped with the latest technologies and training facilities. Harvest season of pomegranate in Jabal Akhbar in the Governorate of Dakhiliya. Here we have a report by Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubai.
Jabal Akhdar mountain, a well-known mountain for its splendid temperature during summer period. At the same time, it's also known to be a land for growing diverse range of fruit trees, such as pomegranate, walnut, with many other trees that are scattered around Jabal al-Akhdar. At this time of the year, farmers do move towards harvesting pomegranate, the fruit of which is known of its light color and sweet taste. Here, at this rocky area, we spotted these young guys descending this rocky mountain towards valley. These youngsters came to visit their relatives in Jabal al-Akhdar. We followed them along with their host, Mr. Rashid bin Sulaiman al-Fadi, to his farm in Wadi Bani Habib. On the way across the valley, we passed through a bush of greenery areas with ponds of water along with spring foliage water that is used for irrigation. Walking towards the farm requires stamina and skills of climbing and descending the rocky areas to get to the pomegranate farms. Finally, the team of these young guys with their relatives arrived at their farm, and it's marvelous to see these pomegranate trees, and here we had an opportunity to taste the fruits.
It's a pleasure to be here today among my relatives, inhabitants of this cool, lovely village of Wadi Bani Habib. I enjoy tasting sweet fruits that grow here.
During this period, more visitors from inside and outside Oman, including Gulf states, are seen touring and buying the seasonal fruits, along with other products from Jabal al-Akhdar, such as temperate plants and za'atar, rosewater, all of which are tended by locals here.
Plum pomegranate, okay. This is a Kanta fig. This is rose, Jabal al-Akhdar. This is olives, that green tea. This is fresh pomegranate, but this is not sweet. This is same the lemon.
This is Muad Al-Ameri. I'm glad to be here at Jabal al-Akhdar today at the pomegranate season. It's its freshest and its best. We drove from Muscat. It took us an hour and a half to be here. Very glad to be here at very nice fancy hotels and very good service. So come up here and try the pomegranate for yourself.
يومنا يجي العمال نحس بالفرح والسرور لأن هذا نعتبره بلدنا الثاني.
The visitors have expressed their attraction to this country in general and Jabal al-Akhdar in particular, while praying for prevailing good Gulf brotherly relationship. Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubai, Sultanate of Oman Television.
Now for the general focus around the Sultanate, partly cloudy skies prevail the coastal area of the Governorate of Dhofar and the nearby mountains. The rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies with chances of scattered rainfall over the Hajar Mountains. Winds will be southerly to southeasterly light to moderate, and seas will be slight to the maximum wave height of 1 meter. This is the Sultan of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Sultan affirms that executing reforms on United Nations system is necessary to be in line with the future of upcoming generations. The Sultan and the Republic of Latvia signed a memorandum of understanding to coordinate their stances on regional and international issues. The Sultan's general deficit declines to 2.6 billion Omani riyals, and the Central Bank of Oman affirms increase in activities of oil and non-oil sectors. And the Research Council approves financing of 58 students' research projects in various fields. And with that comes the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here in the newsroom and the studios, thanks for watching. Good night.